Hello and welcome to another episode of CS Stories. In this week's episode, I want to tell you about some recent news that really blew my mind when I saw that the Woods Hole deep submergence vehicle Alvin now just passed its certification dive for 6,500 meter depth. And that is just incredible depth that reached with a human occupied vehicle. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about Alvin. Alvin is America's deep diving human occupied submersible, and it's operated at the National Deep Submergence Facility at Woods Hole, but it's owned by the US Navy. So it is used by the US government also for some dives, but mostly it's a science vehicle. It has experienced a lot of refits over the last years, or the last decades, actually, you should say, on this vehicle. And actually, in fact, all parts of this submersible have changed out over time, but still, it's referred to as Alvin because the general concept stays the same. So it was built in 1965 with back then a depth rating of 1,800 meters, which was huge at that time. And one of its first missions was where it famously located and recovered a lost hydrogen bomb in Spain that got lost due to some aircraft mishap during a practice run. So that was pretty crazy. But then in 1968, actually, Alvin sank to the deep sea down to 1,500 meters because two support cables during deployment snapped. And the pilots luckily could escape, but the vehicle was drowned on the seafloor. And it took almost a year until it was discovered or recovered the summer afterwards. Then in 1973, they realized they wanted a deeper pressure rating on this vessel, and they increased the pressure rating to 4,500 meter with a new titanium pressure hull. So that then enabled in the 70s the discoveries of the mid-Atlantic ridges and diving at the freshly discovered mid-Atlantic ridges, looking for the theories of continental drift, etc. And that then also led in 1977 and 79 to the discovery of hydrothermal vents with Alvin. So that is quite a substantial discovery made by Alvin. Another mission that many of you might have heard about was when in 1986 Alvin was diving down to the wreck of the Titanic, and back at that time they experimented even with a little ROV that was connected to the vessel and could dive into the wreck of the Titanic, and is now was the really start of the ROV Jason, which is now also a facility of Woods Hole. From 2011 to 2014, Alvin got its most recent upgrade that was only finished now in 2022, where Alvin got a new pressure hull again, which finally has a very deep depth rating of 6,500 meter. The pilots have more space, they have better viewports, they can have more holes to look out of the sphere. There's better TV systems, etc. So it's a much renewed vehicle with a lot better capabilities. And I'm just overly excited that this is finally happening. And it's a really interesting system because even a lot of the deep diving ROVs that we are looking at for scientific research are only making the 6,000 meter mark. So in Alvin nowadays, we can dive deeper than in most of the research ROVs that exist as remotely operated vehicles and where there's no persons on board. So this is quite an enormous step, and I congratulate my colleagues over at the National Deep Submersion Facility. And I hope you share a little bit of that fascination. And with that, I want to thank you a lot for watching, and have a nice day.